While we're still at the very beginning of our journey, I want to try to emphasize the importance of the notion of contemplative reading that we've talked about and try to illustrate that from just a little bit of a different angle. Let's pick up in the text of Canto 1 with lines 52 following. Dante has just descended the hill as a result of being thwarted in his effort to climb it, to reach the top of the hill where he can see the sun of hope most clearly. He's been thwarted in that effort by the presence of the beasts and now has been driven back down to the foot of the hill again. Speaking of the wolf, he says this, "And then a she-wolf, who, all hide and bones, seemed charged with all the appetites that have made many live in wretchedness, so weighed my spirit down with terror, which welled up at the sight of her, that I lost hope of making the ascent. And like one who rejoices in his gains, but when the time comes and he loses, turns all his thought to sadness and lament, such did the restless beast make me. Coming against me step by step, it drove me down to where the sun is silent. While I was fleeing to a lower place, before my eyes a figure showed, faint in the wide silence." So the text speaks of a transformation, a sudden turn in Dante's fortune. He had literally touched bottom as the wolf drove him back down the hill, and the way he identifies bottom is important to us. Poetry is different than ordinary language in that its intensity is concentrated in a way that's analogous to the concentration of a laser beam in relation to ordinary light. The metaphor of being driven down to where the sun is speechless is an example of Dante's extraordinary gift for giving language texture. Writing a text, the verbal surface of which we can feel with all our senses. It's an intimacy of language that engages the body in such a way that it gives us more to think about. And because it gives us more to think about and has greater power, we have to give ourselves the opportunity to absorb that richness of energy that is in the language, the texture of poetry. Dante already has a foretaste here in the middle of the dark wood in this experience of what it means to be in hell. The sun, the light of hope, the word of revelation has gone silent for him. There is literally nothing to hope in, nothing to carry hope. But then something happens. A moment of grace. Dante receives from, at this point he knows not where, help. But it's help in the form of one whose voice is faint from long disuse. Virgil here appears, and it's as if he's appearing not only out of the mists, but he's emerging out of the mists of Dante's memory. Virgil represents, of course, poetry, the author of the Aeneid. And as poetry, Virgil's voice is faint not just because the Aeneid was written a long time ago and because Dante's study of it was a long time ago, but because the Aeneid for Dante is poetry. It's the highest expression of the human art of poetry. And Dante had lost contact with his own personal relationship to the vision of the Aeneid, to the voice of Virgil, to the voice of poetry. There was a time when for Dante it was very clear that his identity was tied to being the poet of Beatrice. Beatrice was long gone, and for Dante, poetry, in a very real sense, was long gone, so its voice was faint in him. But now, of a sudden, the voice of poetry begins to sound in his ears again, and the word begins to take flesh in the encounter between Virgil and Dante that begins the journey.